On this week's episode of Challenge Cars Dodgy YouTube, we explore the effects of hot manifold, oil leak, and a brand new fire extinguisher. When R53s go bad, when fire extinguishers save businesses, we explore the dangers of cars. We bought the two worst R53s on the market and hell, I found out how bad they were. This is the remnants of the silver one you saw in the video previously. Let me tell you a story. The last time we saw this car, I was going through it and absolutely obliterated it. And this was a better one, it got 130k on. So I've had engine out of this, we'll have exhaust off it. It's got Harman Kardon, so I'll rub Harman Kardon bits and send that off to scrapper. But the silver one used to be here, right? And this patch here. So I decided to clear that bit out of the workshop and actually get someone in just to break cars for me because I go through that many cars and that many parts. But by the time I'd start it up from here, right, and it's like 10 seconds to get it to here, it bloody set on fire. So what had happened is, there was a massive oil leak coming out back at rocker cover, which to be fair, we'd not noticed, but it's been sat there for a good few weeks now. Spat a load of oil out at rocker cover, onto heat shield, onto manifold, and just went boom, straight up. Desperately trying to get out of it, because I've already robbed the door card, so the inside handle's just right there, where am I going, trying to get out of it. Just before that, like, there's a lot of steam coming out of this. Look, it's burning off a lot of water because it's been sat collecting. I'm like, nah, that's not water. So I jump out of the car, like, fire, pop bonnet, whoosh. Run over to get fire extinguisher and things are getting real. So, luckily got that out pretty quick. But we bought that car off of someone private, right? And he bought that car on the belief that he could run it as a daily and fix it because he's picked it up from a driveway dealer. And there's loads of people selling R53s at the minute, right now, on Facebook, and they're all driveway dealers. And it's illegal. They're breaking cars on the drive as well, and they've got the correct licenses, and that, again, is illegal because they have to have processes for disposing of oil, aircon gas, coolant. All has to be registered. Not one of these people you're seeing on Facebook at the moment are legal, and I'm going to annoy a few people and I'm going to ruffle a few feathers because I did it with one video before and I had a guy literally pulling a Liam Neeson trying to track me down.
What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Yeah, Mr. Newton, and I will name you. You know. Taxman will be coming after you. Bye. So that one's gone to the scrapper. It has not got one part what's worth using on it, so I don't want it to go to any breakers because it'll find its way onto your car probably, and then you'll be having to replace it anyway and it'll probably break down because there's nothing on that car what is roadworthy, as daft as it sounds. So it's gone to be killed. It'll be a cube like this big, and then it'll probably sit in a scrappers for God knows how long, apparently getting recycled, but we know it's never going to get recycled. So that absolute weapon, what's been taken away, was bought by the previous owner for £2,500, I believe, from a driveway dealer in Huddersfield, but pretended he wasn't a dealer because he just does it as a hobby and he's doing it for pastime. To the amount of driveway dealers I'm having to deal with the aftermath of. So just last week, we had some security bollards put up at our drive at home. And Lauren was speaking to him, and the guy goes, "Oh, I sell cars on like as a hobby." I'm like, "What do you mean? Bollard, you're doing bollards and you're selling cars as a hobby. So what does that actually mean?" And then he went, "Yeah, I do 8 to 10 cars a month off my driveway." So Lauren asked him, "Well, what do you do with them?" "Oh, I just buy them from BCA and I clean them and I sell them on Facebook." So this annoyed me like crazy because obviously we go through a lot of prepping here, and I've mentioned it before that I could just buy them from BCA, flog them and sting everyone with cars and be like every other R53 dealer at the minute, because some people are buying them to break them but they're also selling them as well. And every brand at the moment has someone what's buying a car from BCA, and just look on Facebook and Auto Trader. They're not private sales. They're selling 3 and 4 cars a month. Just look at the history, what they do at selling. And when you go to them, ask them. Because when they say it's sold as seen and it's a private sale, it is not. It's not. If anything, they're doing you a favour, even if they ignore you, because you're coming from personally in their houses at liability at that stage. So good luck in small claims court. It doesn't take much money to get there. That's why people buy off limited companies and dealers. Anyway, I digress. So he's telling me he's doing 8 to 10 cars. I've noticed my neighbour down the road is probably selling 4 or 5 cars a month as well from BCA. And then I get another neighbour what bought an Astra from a dealer down the road in Dewsbury, which is like WF12, WF13 postcode. They're warning postcodes along with anything BD in this area. Sorry, Bradford, but I don't care. Anything like that, you never buy a car from, and it's the rule of thumb. But unfortunately for this woman, she just passed a test and she's been introduced to that guy, dealer, I don't know what he is, by her driving instructor, and he stuck her with an Astra. She paid £2,700 for it, and I got the car on the ramp because she says it's not driving right, and it had semi-slick race tyres on the front, the turbo had gone, the manifold had gone, and the disc and pads were illegal, the brake pipes were all corroded, but he just had a clean test. And then it got me thinking, how many people get stung by this? And we had a chat between us, and I've chatted to a lot of people, that everybody is getting stung by driveway dealers because no one's prepping the cars. BCA, Dodgy MOT, Facebook Marketplace, that's the route. And it's making the job really, really hard for everyone. That's why, I'll be honest with you, we've got a garage as well, and it makes very good money at the moment from people getting stung by driveway dealers. So she's taking that driveway dealer to court. Her problem with that is it's going to take 12 months. And then she goes and buys a Golf. And this Golf's £1,000, and she's bought it from a partner's mum's best friend's son. He's a mechanic. He's a mechanic, he's got a garage. So she's got this car a day, and she's like, something's not right. So she asked Lauren to come round and get it booked in garage for a health check again. And then we'll go, have you HPI'd this car? She's like, no. So we'll do an HPI for her. So we get it just down the road, even make it to the garage. The clutch is completely gone. The car's actually smashed up to bits and it doesn't drive straight. So we HPI car, and it's a cat and write-off from like 2 years ago, but it's bounced between 6 owners in 2 years. So obviously it's gone through BCA, next person's got it, realised it's a ringer, sent it back through BCA, flogged it on Facebook, vice versa. So she's been stung on 2 cars at the minute, 2 of them. And now it's getting quite expensive. So she's already out £2,700 on the other one, plus a vehicle health check to realise that it is absolutely a nail. And now she's done another £1,000 on this one. And we tell her, look, your car's a write-off, go get your money back for that car. Somehow, go get it back, because she's got like family connections, she might have a chance. Anyway, kicking and screaming down the phone, don't want to take the car back, they give her a really bad time on it. So she gets back £850 of the 1,000, which should have been the 1,000, but they've done it for 150 quid for coming to deliver it and coming to collect it. It's £1,000. If you've not already spent the 2,700 before, the £150 you just let go. But at this stage, it's getting super expensive. Luckily at the time, we've got a cheaper car in, what I know is a very good car, and the previous owner looked after it really well, and it's got really good receipts, and it's come with a warranty. And she's loving that car because I see it leave every day, and she must have done easy 500 miles on that thing by now. But she's loving that car. But she's also out £150 on one car, £2,700 on the other, plus a couple of vehicle health checks and an HPI check, because the Golf were a write-off. And then we get another call from a gent saying, oh, I bought my car 8 weeks ago and my engine's knocking. Can I get it recovered to you? So like, yeah, let's get it in, let's do an health check on it and see if it is actually knocking or it's some pulley catching or something. So we get it in, get it on ramp. Tony gets it on ramp and the first thing he goes is, the guy that sold this should be locked up. So I took me underneath it. The brake pipes are leaking. The rear discs have literally got chunks out of it. The engine is knocking from bottom end. There's a catastrophic oil leak and about 50 more different bushes were absolutely destroyed. He bought it off Facebook from a Facebook dealer. What he didn't realise were a dealer at the time until he got stung by the car. So when we are buying our 53s at the minute, we are buying a lot of them privately because they don't go through auctions. They're not going through dealers anymore. They're too old. So we're always looking for history and previous owners being correct, and a certain type of R53 when we're buying them, and a certain type of any brand when we're buying it. There's a lot of cars what I stay away from, and a lot of cars what we get offered what I've been through garages what are supposedly specialists, and then I see the bills, and I've seen everyone's bill at this point. We had a gent ring us up to buy his car the other day, what paid £3,090 for a timing chain, a supercharger service, and a couple of other things. I'll put this bill up here because it's absolutely astronomical from a garage what isn't even VAT registered. And I thought, hold on, I'm VAT registered and I'd be 30 to 40% cheaper than this bill on all of these. And I looked through everything, right, even down to a supercharger servicing and timing chains and the stuff what we've done. I thought we were a good price, like competitive, but we are super cheap on a lot of stuff. So it's making me rethink a lot of pricing. However, this garage are charging 3 times for his sump doing and twice for his coolant bleeding on this invoice, and nothing adds up. And he bought this car and then he's gone and spent £5,000 fixing the car. And unfortunately, I think the car, I'd buy it in for what, three and I wouldn't even do 3.5 because I've got to consider transporting there to sell it at what, 5.5 plus whatever prep I do inside of that. So it's kind of not worth it. I've got a feeling he's already spent 5.5 buying it in the first place. So he's probably 10 grand into his car. And I get these conversations a lot at the moment, and they're hard conversations because you're doing 20-year-old cars and you're buying it from dealers what realistically are not prepping the cars, but the driveway dealers. Now I realise I've waffled on a lot about that point, but it brings on to something what needs to be picked up by someone. So if you sell car finance, the FCA heavily regulate everything, right? But no one's regulating car auctions, because at one stage, to get through a car auction at COVID, you had to have a trader's license. You had to have an insurance policy saying you were a trader. Now it's open for everyone. Buying cars from BCA auctions and other car auctions, and then taking them home, giving them a clean, and then that weekend, the day after, they are literally on Facebook for sale for you guys to buy and for you guys to do all the fixes on. And if they manage to get an MOT on it, I can guarantee half of the time it's a dodgy test, because I'm sick of seeing dodgy tests. I've reported 20 garages this year to VOSA, 20 of them, because they're stinging my customers like crazy on a lot of stuff. The guy what's just bought that car 8 weeks ago, the Vauxhall, it had a test 8 weeks ago. The brake pipes must have had 10 years worth of wear on. They've never been touched. Nothing's been touched on that car. I don't understand how these cars are getting through tests. And I'm aware that VOS is getting really strict on stuff, but they're not strict enough because there's still a lot of dodgy tests going on. But there needs to be some kind of regulation on car auctions. No one should be able to buy a car. It's in an auction from a dealer as a trade sale half at the time. So why is the public being able to buy that car? Right, how to spot a driveway dealer. So imagine you found a car on Facebook, you rang him up, you're going to see it. he's gonna go, it's sold as seen. There is no such thing as sold as seen. It does not exist. There's a Consumer Rights Act, as if I've sold you a car as a consumer, but in this case, on a private one, it doesn't occur because you're not a dealer. So it goes to the Sale of Goods Act. And the Sale of Goods Act is essentially if the car is misdescribed and misrepresented. So if that car, like my neighbour, eats a cat N, when the guy's not told you about it, then you are entitled to a full refund. You're entitled to take them to court if you need. Now, you might not think this, but there is no such thing as sold as seen. And that is important. Of course, like, if we look at that car that's just gone out there, that we're never near, it wasn't roadworthy, it wasn't sweet as a nut, it wasn't perfect, runs mint, mate, all utter right? A lot of it, and I'm sick of it. The neighbour gets stung by a driveway dealer twice. Not even passed a test yet because driving instructor stuck her into a car. Anything with a BD postcode, don't touch it. There's never such thing as a private sale in Bradford. Chances are it's a ringer. And I'm never apologising for that. So if you're from Bradford, just take it on chin because that's the reputation you've got. So we'll go back to that car with consumer rights, right? If there's someone what says they're doing this as a hobby, it's not a hobby. There is no such thing as flipping cars for a hobby because at the end of the day, it's still a business. If you're earning profit off it, it's not a hobby, it's a business. You're making money. So when you go to buy a car, predominantly off Facebook Marketplace, the unregulated side of the motor trade at the minute is where everyone's acting in the grey area. Even the guy what put in a bollard for my driveway is selling 8 cars a month off his driveway, and all he does is buy them from BCA and flog them. So where's the line between distinguishing a dealer and a private seller? A private seller, in my eyes, the logbook's in your name, you've had it more than just a month, and you've actually had that car. Garages at the minute as well. Make sure if you put your car into a garage, they're a limited company because they're going to take some liability then. And they've probably got the correct insurances. Second to that the VAT registered. I know of a dealership at the minute because I had a gent ring me up to try and buy his car off me to buy his car in. And he rang a dealer down south, which I thought were a bigger setup than they actually are. He ain't VAT registered, he's been flogging cars for years, so I know for a fact that he's turning over more than 85k. And you're a garage and you're booked out on your Facebook every day, and it don't take much to get to 85 grand turnover. His invoice for a timing chain and a supercharger service and a coolant bleed and flush, which is part of a supercharger service anyway, were 3,090 quid. On top of the 2 grand he just spent correcting some works he had done at the same place. And he bought the car from a big place, because I always thought these were much bigger than they are because they've been going for a long time. Got like 20,000 followers on it, just on Instagram. Bloody nuts. Anyway, probably bought that car for 5 grand and he's literally spent another 5 grand rectifying it. There is no such thing as a hobbyist dealer. If you're buying a car on Facebook, do yourself a favour, HPI the thing in first place, because even if it's a write-off and you've not been told about it and the thing goes, oh, it's sold as seen, mate, or it's advertised, runs mint, pal, this, absolute sweet as a nut. Yeah, you might not be able to get much off your Consumer Rights Act. However, there's a Sale of Goods Act 1979 and that car should be as described. So if that guy's saying it's sweet as a nut and it's not sweet as a nut, sweet as a nut, love. It's a nail. You get your money back, taking small claims court, guaranteed win. Most people don't realise that because on Facebook at the minute there's a bit of a pandemic where everyone's buying cars from BCA, flinging them through no prep, valeting them, flogging them on Facebook. Every other car on Facebook at the minute is from driveway dealer, Bradford, Birmingham, Leicester. Nah, never. My point is on this one, if you are going to buy a car on Facebook Marketplace, do a little bit of due diligence. Don't take everyone for the words, because most people are flogging 5 and 6 cars off the drive and they're doing actual dealers over. I'm all right, I've got the garage. I'll diagnose your car, I'll take all the work from it. However, you're going to get stung with a bill. You've just bought a car, I've just had one other day. Last week, I had to get car recovered, bottom end knucking, and rest of it went absolute death trap. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know who's testing these cars, but there must be these ghost tests what people are talking about, because they're not having tests, they can't be, won't pass. These garages, a lot of garages pretending that they're much bigger and actually set up legit when they're not. The invoice what I showed earlier of a customer offered me their car for £3,090 the invoice was for £1,500 worth of actual work, and then he spent £2 grand before. Here's another invoice from a garage what is pretending to be a limited company, was actually dissolved in Scunthorpe, and the website last month said that they sold coffee beans. Coffee beans. Here's an invoice and it's massively inflated, it's really expensive. They're collecting VAT and pretending that the VAT registered when they're not. And the company literally doesn't exist. It actually exists on eBay selling car parts under a different business name. And the problem is with this, there's a lot of places unregulated. The world is that busy at the moment, no one can regulate this, and the police are not going to do a thing about it because they're too scared of people talking about other people on internet. However, try not to get stung. Do your research on stuff. This is not a case of you must buy a car from us. Go buy one from a dealership. What's probably been going on for a while. This is any car as well. Do your research. If they look big enough, then chances are they're legit. If they're selling coffee beans on the website, then you don't want them to do your timing chain, do you? So the reason why I'm mentioning all this is because at the end of this month, I'm going to small claims court. And we are about to out probably a garage, and he doesn't realise that we're going to do this, but a customer supplies some documents saying he's had his car diagnosed. Essentially, his son's got bored of the car and he's trying to get out of it. He offered us to buy it and I said, no, I don't want it back, because simply I had too much stock at the time. However, he doesn't like getting told no. And if it's to do with his kids, and he really don't like getting told no, so he's thrown all his teddies out pram and kicked and screamed and trying to make our lives awkward. But however, he's gone and doctored a document pretending that he's coming from a garage, and he's even got the registration wrong, and it's been signed off by a director what doesn't even exist for a company what's been dissolved for 5 years. Well, actually is under a different company, and they do nothing to do with car repairs. The website actually sells coffee beans. Come on.
I love it.
So do me a favour, if you're going to try and con someone, at least make it believable. So, if you're not subscribed, this story is a very, very good one, and it applies to everyone. If you're a consumer, you're a dealer, or you're just generally a nosy git, you're going to enjoy it. So please subscribe.